Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's community budget meeting. My name is Natalia Bravo, and I am the Chief of Staff to our county's Chief Administrative Officer. And I have the honor of facilitating tonight's discussion on the county's recommended budget. I want to take a moment to thank you all for taking time from your schedule to share your thoughts on the budget with us this evening. I'm excited to welcome you and our presenters and look forward to the feedback portion of the meeting, where I will be moderating to ensure everyone has an opportunity to share their input in a safe and respectful environment. Before we get started, I want to let you know that we are providing interpretation services for this meeting. I'd like to take a minute to thank our interpreters who are providing simultaneous interpretation in Spanish. Me gustaría tomar un minuto para agradecer a nuestros intérpretes por su labor en la interpretación de la reunión de esta noche. Si requieren acceso a los servicios de interpretación, favor de seleccionar el icono en forma de globo en la barra de herramientas de Zoom. Ahí podrá elegir su idioma preferido. For all the participants, please note that even if you do not need interpretation services, you must still choose English as your language to hear that audio. This meeting is being recorded, and the meeting recording will be made available on the budget webpage. The purpose of tonight's community meeting is to provide the public an opportunity to learn about the specific topics in the recommended 2024-26 operational plan, commonly referred to as the recommended budget, and then provide time for questions and comments. We will start with a welcome from our Chief Financial Officer, Ebony Shelton, followed by an overview of topic areas found in the recommended budget presented by each of the county's business groups. These topics covered today were selected based on community feedback. After the presentations, we will open it up to comments and questions from the public before closing. For now, I would like to turn it over to the county's Chief Financial Officer, Ebony Shelton. Ebony?
Thank you so much, Natalia. Welcome everyone on behalf of our Board of Supervisors, our Interim Chief Administrative Officer, our Assistant CAO, our Deputy CAOs, and all of the county department heads. I want to welcome you all to our virtual community budget meeting, and thank you for spending some time with us this evening. Here on this slide, you see a lot of pictures. I don't expect for you to remember or be able to even read everyone's names here, but these are the faces of the people who are here to serve you. You are our customers, and we want to provide you with exceptional experiences however you interact with the county. Whether you take your kids to a county park for a fun outing, drive to work every day on a county-maintained road, or look to the county as a resource in your time of need, we want your experience with us to exceed your expectations. And all of that starts with us here tonight and with this budget. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about the budget tonight, and we hope to hear more from you about your experiences and perhaps answer some of your questions. So with that, warm welcome. I'll turn the presentation back over to Natalia.
Thank you, Ebony. Now for some directions on how to provide comments and ask questions during today's meeting. To ensure everyone has an opportunity to be heard, we ask that you please use the raise your hand feature on the Zoom toolbar. Our team will notify you when you are up next, and at that time, please unmute yourself. For those dialing in, press *9 and unmute with *6 when our team notifies you that you are up next. When you finish your comments or questions, please press *6 to remute. Another option for participation is to use the Zoom Q&A meetings feature on the toolbar. You can use this function anytime during the meeting. Staff members are monitoring the Q&A and will reply to your questions. If you have a comment, please be sure to provide your question and comment. If you have a comment, please provide that also in the Q&A. Time permitting, I will read the comments out. In the event we run out of time, please be sure to provide your question and comment through the Q&A, and we will work to get you a response. All questions with responses and comments will be captured and available in the after meeting summary and posted on the budget webpage. Throughout the meeting, we ask that everyone be courteous and respectful of each other. Our speakers today include the general managers for the county's 4 business groups. First, you will hear once more from Ebony Shelton, the county's Chief Financial Officer and General Manager for the Finance and General Government Group. She will be followed by Davia Lynch, Interim General Manager for the Land Use and Environment Group, Dr. McDonald, Interim General Manager for the Health and Human Services Agency, and Holly Porter, General Manager for the Public Safety. Before we hear from our speakers, we have a video that helps provide an overview of the budget. Please join me in watching the video.
The county has a multi-billion-dollar budget. That's a lot of money, your money, but the county does a lot with it. We offer people services to help with mental health and substance use, keep neighborhoods safe, support affordable housing, address homelessness, build roads, inspect restaurants, buildings, and beach water, provide parks, and a ton more. So where does the funding come from? A few main ways. Nearly half come from state, federal, or other governments. You pay taxes to them, they pass money to us. We put it back into the community. About 21% comes from property or other taxes. Then, about 16% comes from fees we charge for services. The rest is a mix of sources. So we put all those together and it gives us a pot of money for the budget. But we can't just spend it on anything we want. Most of the time, the source it comes from dictates where it goes. We have some choices with a portion of it. When making decisions, we consider what we hear when engaging with the community. Look at what data tells us and make sure it moves us towards greater equity. This is roughly how the budget is divided up right now. About 41% for health and human services, things like mental health services, food and medical assistance, public health, and so on. About a third for public safety, including sheriff, district attorney, public defender, fire, and emergencies. The rest covers a wide variety of services: parks and protecting the environment, libraries, roads, planning, safety inspections, birth and marriage records, elections, and support for other groups. The chief executive who runs the county day-to-day puts together a recommended budget. This year, that gets released May 2nd. That's when everyone can see what's in it. May 14th and 16th, individual departments will give presentations on their plans. May 23rd and 29th, the public is invited to participate in community budget meetings. There are 2 Board of Supervisors meetings when the public can share comments on the budget, a daytime hearing on June 4th and an evening hearing on June 6th. That's your chance to weigh in person. You can also comment online. June 25th, the board meets again to discuss the budget. At that point, they might make changes to what was recommended. Once they're done, they adopt a final budget. That covers the fiscal year starting July 1st. Learn more about the budget, key dates, and events on how to provide input at sandiegocounty.gov/open budget.
In the video shared, this community meeting is part of the budget review process. Additional opportunities to be part of the process take place through the end of June and include a public hearing on June 4th and another on June 6th, and a comment period which is open now through 5 p.m. on June 13th. With that, I will now turn it back over to Ebony. Ebony?
Thank you so much, Natalia, and thanks everyone again for joining us this evening. We would like to talk to you about the 24-25 operational plan that was recently introduced by our Interim Chief Administrative Officer. On this slide, you'll see the budget timeline starting on the left with the release of the recommended budget earlier this month, and the recommended budget was presented on May 14th and 16th. After today's community budget meetings, we'll kick off the board's budget hearings on June 4th in the morning and have an evening public hearing later in the same week. Our budget process will wrap up on June 25th with the board's deliberations and adoption of the budget. And you can find this information and much, much more on the county's open budget portal, the budget website. We've cast a wide net to help to inform the public about the budget process and timing, and everyone here with you this evening is excited to hear your comments and questions. The county provides many services in the region, covering those who live in the unincorporated areas, as well as the 18 incorporated cities. So let's talk about the core services that the county provides. First, there are the programs that the county administers on behalf of the state of California, which include social services, foster care, and health programs. The county implements these programs locally within program and funding parameters that are set by the state. Next are services that the county is responsible for providing to the entire region, such as operating detention facilities, administering elections, assessing and collecting property taxes, and ensuring environmental health. And finally, the county is responsible for municipal services to the unincorporated areas, similar to the services provided by cities, from fire protection and maintaining roads and flood control districts to libraries, parks, law enforcement, and land use decisions. Now let's talk about the upcoming fiscal year 24-25 budget and how it proposes to invest in our community and the funding the county has available for these services. The recommended budget for fiscal year 24-25 is just under $8.5 billion. This is an increase of approximately $318 million, or roughly 4% from the current year budget. This includes just approximately 20,500 staff, which is an increase of 72, or about 0.5% from our current staffing levels in the existing adopted budget. And while that pace of growth in this budget has slowed from the current year, we continue to carry out programs and services that are priorities of the board. Over the last 5 years, our county budget has grown, resulting in investments of $2 billion in additional investments in our region. The budget increase proposed for the coming year is in all major areas of the budget due to increasing cost of salary and benefits countywide, reflecting our negotiated labor agreements, and includes major investments in infrastructure, including parks, libraries, and roads, behavioral health, homelessness, housing, and other services for people in need, public safety, public health and protection, including environmental sustainability, and justice reform. Other priorities of the board in each supervisorial district are also included in this budget. As for what funds this multi-billion-dollar budget, as you heard in the video, almost half of the funding comes from federal and state and other government sources. I'll note that with that in mind, the governor recently released his revised state budget a few weeks ago. The impact of the state's projected deficit is not reflected in the recommended budget that we're discussing with you today. And our team is currently reviewing the governor's proposal for impacts to the county, and will continue to monitor areas where revisions to the budget might be needed. Adjustments to funding levels and services are a serious risk to our county, as much of our revenue comes from the state. The other half of funding in the recommended budget is from property taxes, fees for county services, and other various sources. The budget was built to reflect the county's vision of a just, sustainable, and resilient future for all, and its core values of belonging, equity, access, sustainability, integrity, and excellence. Throughout this budget process, we work hard as a team to uphold these values, and you'll hear them and see them reinforced throughout the presentation this evening. On the next slide, we'll focus on how the county is investing in the community through an equity lens. Over the past year, the county's Office of Equity and Racial Justice has been working to extend the equity principles into the budget process to ensure countywide priorities related to equity are considered by departments in budget recommendations. A budget equity questionnaire was co-developed by our Office of Financial Planning, along with the Office of Equity and Racial Justice and San Diego County residents through various public feedback sessions. This was used by county departments as an assessment tool in applying an equity lens. In considerations, in order to apply an equity lens for all departments, use department-specific equity data, strengthen community engagement, and to ensure accountability. With that in mind, I'll now turn the presentation over to my colleague, Davia Lynch, with the Land Use and Environment.
Thank you, Ebony. Good evening. I'd like to share a bit about how we are supporting roads, parks, libraries, and public health with this budget. In the unincorporated area, there are 2,000 miles of roadway that support travel, tourism, and emergency response. Each year, the county invests resources to maintain the condition of the pavement on these roads, and $65.5 million are included in this year's proposed budget for this purpose. But safe roadways are more than just their pavement. They require field teams in the community every day, making sure the roads are in good repair and safe for travel, as well as support systems like traffic signals, crosswalks, bike lanes, and guardrails. To ensure safe operations at our county roads, another $189 million are proposed in this budget. One example of investments like this is the Bradley Avenue Improvement Project in El Cajon, which will add new bike lanes and turn lanes. It will improve storm drain culverts and install Green Street water quality treatment features. We'll also be replacing the bridge over State Route 67 with a new bridge and improved on and off ramps. We strive for the parks, trails, and libraries we manage to really be a benefit to our communities, to help strengthen community connection and wellness, to inspire creativity, learning, and adventure, and to protect our region's natural resources. To operate and care for these trusted community amenities, the county budget includes nearly $76 million for parks and recreation and almost $67 million for libraries. This includes funding the construction of a new eco-friendly Casa de Oro library in Spring Valley. And in terms of how we're protecting public health here at the Land Use Environment Group, every morning before most San Diegans start their day, the county's environmental health experts are gathering water samples from the region's beaches and bays. These samples are tested to ensure the water is safe for recreation according to state standards. If it isn't, within hours, the county alerts the public through signage, media, and its SD Beach Info website. This year's county budget includes $1.5 million to fund this important program and helps protect public health. I'll now turn it over to Dr. McDonald with the Health and Human Services Agency.
Well, thank you, Davia, and good evening to all of you. Preventing the spread of disease, promoting accessibility of health services, protecting the public's health are essential functions of the county. This year, the county budget for public health and healthcare services is over $290 million. This is similar to years past, with some changes to reflect increased salaries and benefits. There are two important items I want to highlight. The first is that next year we will roll out 2 new Live Well on Wheels mobile offices to reach people in communities where it might be harder to access brick-and-mortar public health facilities. And next year, we will open a new $92 million public health laboratory that aligns with the county's commitment to provide top-tier public health services. The new lab will expand the county's ability to test for infectious disease, conduct wastewater surveillance, and provide training and surge capacity to be better prepared to respond to future public health threats. Another priority for the county is advancing efforts under the county's framework for ending homelessness. This includes prevention, diversion, outreach services, treatment, emergency, and permanent housing for people at risk of and or experiencing homelessness. Our county is responsible for direct services and infrastructure like shelters in the unincorporated areas and providing supportive services to 18 regional cities. Housing stability services are also provided region-wide to eligible people through certain behavioral health programs, other programs like CalWorks. Although nearly every department has a role to play, homelessness efforts are primarily led by the Department of Homeless Solutions and Equitable Communities, established in 2021 to help centrally coordinate services. The department's Office of Homeless Solutions has a budget of $70 million, which is an increase of over $12 million from the year before. The budget includes $15 million for the Regional Homeless Assistance Program to provide emergency housing people within the unincorporated areas. There was also $7.8 million in new funding to move people within the San Diego Riverbed and Plaza Bonita encampment areas into housing and shelter. These are just a few examples of the county's investments to address homelessness. Funding this year will also support continued operations at the Magnolia Safe Parking Site located in the east unincorporated area of the county. It has served 127 individuals with a safe place to sleep, meals, flexible funding, case management, and housing navigation to more stable housing since it opened in 2022. A second safe parking site will open this summer. In the coming year, expanding compassionate emergency housing opportunities will continue to create additional emergency housing options for the unincorporated communities. The county also helps fund the development of new affordable housing and administers the Housing Authority's rental assistance program, like the Section 8 program that serves over 10,000 low-income households each month. This is done through the Housing and Community Development Services Department, whose proposed budget is nearly $91 million. This year, the county will invest over $10 million through the Innovative Housing Trust Fund for affordable housing development throughout the region, and more than $2 million for housing in the unincorporated area. Since 2017, the county has supported the opening of more than 2,100 units of affordable housing, meaning housing where rents are no higher than 30% of the income for low-income households. There are another 1,250 affordable units currently under construction, expected to open in the next few years, and another 2,100 affordable units are in the pipeline, expected to begin construction in the next few years. The county also collaborates with developers to build housing on county-owned land that is no longer needed for its previous purpose. In fact, the first development on county-owned land, the Levant Street Senior Cottages, is opening tomorrow and will provide affordable housing for 150 low-income seniors. In addition to these efforts, the county regulates privately developed homes through the Land Use and Development Group, and this year's budget includes $30 million to support those programs. The county provides mental health and substance use services to more than 100,000 adults and children. This has been an area of increasing investment to get people the quality care and treatment that they need. The county has a behavioral health services department with a budget of over $1 billion to provide direct care and support a growing network of services. Some new investments proposed in the coming year include $25 million to expand the public health behavioral health workforce and support smaller organizations providing services within diverse communities. $15 million to implement a state law expanding eligibility for involuntary behavioral health treatment, which will increase capacity for those with substance use disorders, and more than $4 million in new funding for youth suicide prevention. A significant portion of the budget also goes to continuing to operating facilities like the county's psychiatric hospital, the Edgemoor Skilled Nursing Facility, and this year to open the Tri-City Psychiatric Health Facility, which will offer 16 more beds to provide short-term inpatient services for vulnerable adults experiencing a behavioral health crisis. Behavioral health services provides substance use disorder services to nearly 14,000 people each year. Increases to the budget in this area this coming year include rate enhancements for residential and outpatient programs related to the implementation of payment, a new state mandate, and investments funded through the national opioid settlements. This funding helps support the distribution of thousands of naloxone kits and fentanyl test strips free of charge, providing an extra layer of protection for those at risk for overdose. And $4 million is also included for the medical examiner in the county public safety group to address a rise in fentanyl overdose deaths. Over the last several years, rates of overdose deaths involving fentanyl have increased at alarming rates countywide. The resources will improve the medical examiner's ability to address the ongoing drug overdose epidemic by increasing efficiency and scope of toxicology testing. I'd like to turn it over now to Holly to talk further about specific activities and investments in the public safety.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being with us. As part of the county's ongoing commitment to community safety and justice reform, public safety group departments and the Health and Human Services Agency have a proposed budget of over $230 million to continue focusing on prevention, diversion, and reentry programs and services collectively under the umbrella of alternatives to incarceration. The county's work on alternatives to incarceration relies on community engagement and evidence-based practices to build services that are effective and meet the needs of justice-involved people throughout our region. Some highlights of our proposed program investments include community care, coordination, and reentry support, which connects justice-involved individuals who have significant needs with housing and behavioral health treatment, medical care, and connections to wraparound services upon their release from jail. Another example is the District Attorney's Juvenile Diversion Initiative, which is designed to keep youth under the age of 18 out of the juvenile justice system while addressing the root causes of the harmful behavior. Eligible youth facing charges are given the option to participate in diversion and avoid justice system involvement, and it addresses their underlying needs. In addition, the county's crisis stabilization units offer services in a therapeutic setting to people in mental health crisis instead of emergency departments or jail. When law enforcement is involved, this service enables a smooth transition from an officer to care providers. A crisis stabilization unit for youth is located in Hillcrest, and for adults, there are crisis stabilization units in Oceanside, Vista, Escondido, Midway, and Chula Vista, with plans to expand to East County in 2025. The county's mobile crisis response teams provide over 5,000 community-based interventions region-wide to individuals experiencing a mental health, drug, or alcohol-related crisis as an alternative to a law enforcement response. Teams of clinicians, case managers, and peers help people resolve a crisis and connect them to ongoing care. A multi-jurisdictional agreement allows safety agencies to dispatch teams through the 911 system. Throughout this important work, the Alternatives to Incarceration team will continue working closely with county evaluation staff to support evidence-based services. At the core of the county's continued investment in detention center improvements is advancing safety and supporting the rehabilitation of people in our care. A proposed $51 million investment in detention facilities will include further improvements to the sheriff's adult detention facilities for the safety of incarcerated individuals and sheriff's office employees. Over the past year, the sheriff's office has continued its commitment to improving county jails, which includes the near completion of the Rock Mountain Detention Facility renovation. The facility is now partially occupied and provides incarcerated population with a modernized facility that includes ADA compliant housing. The sheriff established an ADA compliance unit to further assist in ensuring the 7 jails are accessible for those needing accommodations. The department has also begun renovations of the George Bailey Detention Facility, which we anticipate to be completed in 2025. This project will allow for the elimination of triple bunks. It will provide upgraded security, major system upgrades, and improvements to the housing units. The recommended budget proposes $6.3 million in the probation department for ongoing improvements to the East Mesa Juvenile Detention Facility. This investment will build upon improvements already started, which include updated interior design and furniture. The updated physical space supports positive youth development, provides functional space to meet programming goals, and also encourages pro-social interactions between youth and the staff. 4 units are complete, and the remaining 2 are projected to be completed by the end of the calendar year. The proposed investment also includes addressing major maintenance projects that are needed at East Mesa Juvenile Detention Facility to continue providing a safe environment for youth. The county is proposing $500,000 to advance gun violence reduction program, which includes a dedicated staff and programming to reduce suicide, domestic, intimate partner violence, and community violence. Community engagement was at the center of the gun violence community needs assessment, which shaped this program. The county hosted 15 community listening sessions, forums, and presentations, and released 2 public surveys to better understand community perspectives, experiences, opinions, and impacts of gun violence in our community. Insights and feedback gathered through these engagement activities helped inform the gun violence reduction work plan, which included recommendations organized into 4 key strategic areas: awareness and advocacy, community engagement and collaboration, community healing and trauma-informed practice, and planning and evaluation. The gun violence reduction strategies identified include promoting safe firearm storage, preventing violence before it starts, and taking action to address immediate and long-term responses to violence. The proposed investment will identify programming and activities focused on suicide prevention, as well as community violence intervention and prevention. San Diego County Fire delivers fire protection and emergency medical services across 1.73 million acres of unincorporated San Diego County. The Emergency Medical Services Office is responsible for oversight, medical direction, and management of the overall system to deliver timely, high-quality emergency medical services and specialty care to the community. The county's proposed overall investment of over $87 million in fire protection and emergency medical services ensures ongoing fire protection in our communities and saves lives. This includes a proposed $16 million increase, which will maintain the current level of fire service and support new ambulance services in our unincorporated communities. In addition, we are proposing $400,000 towards improvements of the Ramona Fire Station 80 and to support the design of a fire training tower. County Fire will also continue prioritizing fire prevention strategies, such as their vegetation management program that reduces fire risk throughout the county along more than 600 miles of road. This fiscal year, County Fire assumed responsibility for ambulance service for our unincorporated communities, as well as the service areas for Alpine Fire Protection District and the Valley Center Fire Protection District. The department currently has 23 ambulances in its fleet and provides services to the unincorporated area through a public-private partnership. County Fire also opened a new East Otay Mesa Fire Station, which serves the growing southern region of the county and increases urban emergency response to that area. Thank you for listening, and that concludes my update on some of the initiatives in the areas of alternatives to incarceration, detention facility improvements, and addressing gun violence and fire protection and emergency medical services in our community. And at this time, I'll turn the presentation back over to our moderator, Natalia Bravo.
Thank you so much, Holly, and thank you to all the general managers for that wonderful presentation. We will now open it up to our question and comment period. We will be rotating between Zoom web speakers. We will take 5, and then we will take 5 Zoom phone speakers. Lastly, we will take 5 Zoom Q&A submissions. We will continue with that cycle until all questions and comments have been heard or we run out of time. If you wish to speak, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom toolbar if you have not already done so. Our moderators will call on you in the order that you are in the queue. To ensure we have enough time for as many people as possible, you will have 2 minutes to provide your comment or ask your question. If we run out of time, please submit your question or comment in writing. We will respond to all questions in the after meeting summary and will be posted on the budget webpage. You can also submit your feedback after the meeting through the channels shown on the screen. I see that we have a few hands raised. Tom Lowry, I see that you have your hand raised, but I also know that you had some questions answered in the Q&A. I'm not sure if those are the same questions. If they are, if you could lower your hand. If not, you may come on.
Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Yeah, so I want to read a comment if that's okay. I have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Great. So my name is Tom Lowry. I live in Lakeside. I'm with the Friends of the San Diego Lakes group, and I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of reservoir recreational users. They're closing our lakes. So the mayor's budget is cutting lake recreation, and we need the county's help. We have urged the council to consider our request to reverse the proposed Public Utilities Department Lakes Recreation cuts. And we do have a council member, Marnie Van Wilpert, that is supporting our efforts because she's concerned about Lake Hodges. And she simply said, can't we just find the money somewhere to prevent these lake closures at the budget hearing meeting? This 2025 budget cut is $59,000. So it's a very small amount, but it's having a big impact in the region. El Capitan Reservoir is going to be closed the entire month of January, starting 2025. Hodges Reservoir is also going to be closed an extra month. Sutherland Reservoir is going to be closed an extra day. And so I want to do a couple of things. I want to thank Joel Anderson's office and his staff for supporting and working with us. We're talking with him now. However, we urge the county, all county board of supervisors members and staff on this call tonight to help us either reverse the cuts that the city's imposing, or have a partnership with the city, because county funding is needed. We want to invest more in the county lakes in the region, for the tremendous economic impact it brings to the city and the county. We also encourage a long-term partnership. This is affecting thousands of people that live out here, and we've seen these lakes declining. The recreation has been declining year after year after year. And so we really need to do something about it. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining this evening. We appreciate your comments. The next raised hand is Maureen Glazer. If you would like to unmute, you may make your comment or question.
Hi, thank you. I'm Maureen Glazer. I'm the Director of Operations for the nonprofit On the Go. I'm here tonight advocating for the no-cost senior transportation program. The program has made a significant impact for vulnerable low-income seniors in San Diego County. In the last 1.5 years, we have provided over 24,000 individual rides to over 400 low-income older adults living in 39 county identified health equity zip codes. The no-cost senior transportation program is a 2-year pilot program funded through ARPA dollars. The opportunity to pilot this program has resulted in very successful outcomes, including a 9.5% rider satisfaction rate and a reported increase in social connectedness among the county's most vulnerable older adults. As of today, we have scheduled over 2,100 rides during the month of May to take San Diego's vulnerable seniors to medical appointments, senior centers, and shopping. We average 75 riders a day, including weekends. So we hope that the county will be able to provide funding to sustain the San Diego County no-cost senior transportation program. We have more than 400 older adults depending on this service.
Thank you so much for joining this evening, Ms. Glazer, and we will make note of your comments. We have someone with the name Owner. Would you like to unmute yourself and provide your comment or question now?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, my name is,
It looks like you might have muted yourself.
and I am also a member of the Friends of the San Diego City.
We're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. You're kind of cutting in and out.
How about now?
Okay, now it's perfect, except you just muted yourself. Those mute buttons can be tricky. You would need to come off of mute. Sometimes they're super sensitive. You're on mute, owner. Okay, since we are having those technical difficulties, please feel free to put your comment or question into the Q&A section, and we will look at that and answer if possible. I don't believe we have any other hands raised at this time. I did want to go ahead and take a look at some other comments, questions that were submitted. We had a question regarding reservoirs in the county controlled by the city PUD. Why is there not a budget partnership with the city to fund and expand recreation infrastructure projects? Our staff answered, managers in the unincorporated area, reservoirs located within incorporated areas are currently managed by agencies like the City of San Diego. We continue to explore opportunities to increase potential recreation access at reservoirs and lakes. However, we must defer to the landowner operator. In a follow-up question, it was asked which lakes have existing partnerships. And we answered, there are existing partnerships at Lake Morena, Sweetwater, and Lake Jennings. It looks like owner was able to place their comment in the Q&A section, so I am going to go ahead and read that out. Of San Diego, you all know the city is closing some city lakes because of budget reasons. Before 1974, the Lakes Recreation Program was run by the county. I submit to you that the city has not met the terms of the charter that turned the lakes over to them originally. According to Fish and Wildlife Statistics, there were over 1.5 million fishing licenses sold in San Diego in 2023. These city budget cuts will negatively impact over 750,000 licenses. These cuts by themselves seem small, but when taken in concert with the closing of every major city lake for an additional days each month and total closures during COVID, or decreased access to these lakes is used every year to cover budget shortfalls. At the turn of the century, San Diego was increasingly mentioned as one of the top largemouth bass fishing destinations in the world by national magazines like Field and Stream, Outdoor Life, and Bassmaster Magazine. Now we are only mentioned once a year in Bassmaster Magazine. Thank you so much, Omar, for your comment in the Q&A section. We have a question from Stephanie Ortega. Do you know when or how we might expect to learn how the state budget cuts might impact this proposed budget? I am going to turn it over to our Director of the Office of Financial Planning, Damien.
Okay, thanks for the question. So currently right now we're reviewing the proposed May revise, and once the legislature takes action in for the mid-June time period and we can actually see what is actually being finalized, staff will review, monitor, and come back to the board with recommendations. So right now we're still in the information gathering stage, and we'll come back with proposed revisions to the board.
Thank you, Damien. I want to remind everyone that you can raise your hand to ask a question or put your question or comment in the Q&A section. If you are dialing in, you may press *9 to raise your hand and then unmute with *6. This one, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Oh, there we go. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Masada, you can please take yourself off mute and ask your question or comment.
That was perfect pronunciation. Thank you. Hi, my name is Masada Dizenhouse. I'm the Executive Director of San Diego 350. As you know, the county has ambitious climate action goals. There are plans for addressing climate change and environmental injustice under different areas of the county's work, including the Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice, the Regional Decarbonization Framework, the Climate Action Plan for the unincorporated county where I live, as well as initiatives for electrifying new and existing buildings, planning for resiliency, et cetera. First of all, I wanted to call on the county to ensure that its budget allocations reflect the urgency of the climate crisis and are sufficient to meet the county's climate, environmental justice, and resiliency goals. And I wanted to ask how folks who are new to the county budget, like me, can figure out where, what the funding levels are for these different programs in the budget, clarity on what the funds are actually budgeted for, and how we would be able to know if the funded levels are sufficient to achieve the goals that the county has identified in these areas. So for example, it's great that the Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice has 12 staff listed in this budget document, but it's not clear to me where implementing the climate action steps like electrifying buildings, building out bike lanes, things like that would fall in the budget. So I appreciate the help in advance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith, for those questions. I am actually going to turn it over to our interim general manager of the Land Use and Environment Group, who can walk you through some of those answers. Davia?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the question and for your interest, Masada. We really appreciate it. There are a couple of different places that I would recommend that you look, and I think most importantly, we can connect you with some folks who might be able to speak to some of the specific programs that you're interested in. I did want to highlight for you our climate action plan, since you mentioned it. We'll be bringing that to the Board of Supervisors this fall, including an implementation plan, a proposed implementation plan and budget associated with that. So you can see every line item and every action as you referred to, and what the proposed cost is for that and what we're proposing to the board. Through the chat, we will go ahead and connect you with a couple of folks from our climate action plan team, and also our our Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice team, who can also share with you some of the specifics on the RDF. I would also offer that in our budget, which is a very, very large document, in the Land Use Environment Group section, you'll see specific line items related to things like the Climate Action Plan and other sustainability investments, which is over $150 million. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Davia. As we wait for our next question, I did want to remind everyone that we are offering language services. If you are in the Spanish interpretation channel, feel free to type your question and answer into the question and answer in Spanish, and we will be able to translate that and answer the question. Again, *9 to raise your hand if you are calling in, or using the raise hand feature for the question and answer section. Going to wait maybe another minute or so and see if we have any other community partners that would like to participate this evening. So Emily, you may come off mute and ask your question or comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm going to just quickly introduce myself and then make a quick comment suggestion. Hauka inya Emily Bergenio nechuhi matas punang kopay no pum sinakutun kopay inya pipa no pum hetnia McKenue. So hello, my name is Emily Bergenio. I come from the Esquinon Village, also known as the San Isabel Reservation in North County, San Diego. I also come from Sinalcatoon Village, which is the Manzanita Band of the Kumeyaay Nation in East County, San Diego. And these are 2 of 12 federally recognized kumeyaay bands within the county. I'm also the chairwoman for the Kumeyaay Digueño Land Conservancy. So I just wanted to highlight the need for funding, assistance, technical assistance, whatever that may look like, for land back within the county for the Kumeyaay Nation. As I said, we are sovereign tribal nation governments. So we've been able to come together through the Kumeyaay Digueño Land Conservancy, which is a nonprofit since 2005, and acquire some small parcels throughout the county of San Diego. And so we've been through the process with land back, and it's still a goal for today's generation and the future generations. And just wanted to quickly highlight that it's not just in our benefit, but as well as the public and the residents of the county of San Diego, which is on Kumeyaay homelands. So that's all I wanted to quickly mention, and I look forward to continuing these conversations.
Thank you so much, Emily, for your participation. As we're waiting, I would remind everyone that we do have the open budget portal as well, where you can make comments throughout the open budget steps. And you can find additional information there. I want to make sure that we give everyone the opportunity that would like to ask a question, make a comment. Opportunity this evening, so please feel free to raise your hand, press *9, or put it in the Q&A. So seeing no movement, I think I'm going to take the opportunity to emphasize again that here at the county, we value and center our work on community engagement. And for that reason, on behalf of the entire county team, I would like to thank you for participating this evening. On the screen, we have a reminder of upcoming key dates if you would like to continue your participation in the budget. More information, like I said, can be found at sandiegocounty.gov/budget. You can also follow us on social media for more updates. Thank you all again for your time this evening, for your comments and questions, and good night.